Hi everybody, this is Janani.
I'm Siddharth,
We have a mystery guest also today.
who you will see in some time to come.
I don't think you've seen us for over a year now. Not too sure actually, I'm not even sure what today's date is. But we decided that we just had to get back into the rhythm of these.
Yeah.
And the reason you've not seen us for so many days is there's been a lot of baby additions in our house.
Yes, lots of babies of various kinds. Start off with 6 months ago, Janani's sister Achinthya gave birth to a little one named Nanda. She has grown so fast and is an absolute acrobat. Not the gymnast kind, but the circus acrobat kind. She treats people carrying her as like furniture to walk all over. Or climbing walls.
Then both Siddharth's sister and I got pregnant within like a 2-week window, and we have 2 new additions to our family. Gauri, our niece, was born about 5 weeks ago, and she is really plumping up, and she's going through all the newborn things that she needs to go through. And little one here is now 4 days old.
She's fast asleep.
I don't think you guys ever saw me on video pregnant or carrying, and so you only see Siddharth carrying. You don't see me carrying. We also don't have our usual dabba with us today. Instead, we have these potatoes that I tossed into the oven. There's nothing on them. There's no salt. There's nothing. As you can see, we are new parents. We are having red eyes from the lack of sleep. Our toddler Achinthya is now with my parents for a little while, and so we decided to take the opportunity to shoot this video.
The house is entirely silent except for us talking. Wow.
Yeah, it's not been like that for a long time.
Yeah, so we decided that today is just about baby updates. And
we don't have the capacity to think about anything else. No deep thoughts, nothing. Just baby stories for you guys.
Achinthya, our 2-year-old son, who you've all heard about a lot, he is a very loving child who's deeply attached to a lot of things, and he was very attached to Janani's milk, right? And would have that before sleeping.
It's a big comfort thing for him, and a cuddling thing. He's not a very cuddly baby normally. So that was how he cuddled with me.
And as Janani's second pregnancy was progressing, giving milk became harder. And so that sort of set its own schedule.
It was a conversation with him.
Right.
When he felt comfortable, we paused a feed, and if he wanted it, we restarted it. And we talked about it and we figured it out together.
Yeah. So in September, he fully weaned off milk, and so he was. And we felt like we did it in a good way. However, we were concerned about what would happen when a new one came on the scene and started having a mother's milk.
Less than 2 months later.
Yeah. So this was 3 days ago that he first saw this one drinking milk from Janani. And at that point of time, he calls her Chakli Papa, because that was the name she had while Janani was pregnant. And he was just excitedly looking at us and saying, Chakli Papa Payappa, Chakli Papa Payappa. Payappa is his word for mother's milk. And we didn't know what to expect of that moment. He was extremely gentle about it. Yeah. So after this one finished feeding, Janani asked.
I was very ready to restart it for him as well and re-wean him from it later if he'd like to. And so I asked him if he'd like some milk as well. And he initially said yes. Lay down, got ready, and just as I was about to get him started, he said no, it's okay, and he got up and he left. And outside the door this happened.
Yeah, so he came and was sitting and chatting with Aditi, Janani's sister, his aunt. And Aditi asked him, did you want milk, Ayappa? And he said, no. She asked him why. And he started listing out all of his family members. Parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, great-grandparents, friends. He listed out all their names. And then he said, that's why I don't want milk.
If that doesn't make sense to you, or why we're being so goofy grinny about it doesn't make sense to you. We had started this exercise with him a month ago, where as I got less and less able to play with him or run around with him, we'd explained to him that Amma was a little unwell, that Chakli Papa is very big, and that once Chakli Papa comes up, Amma will be back to playing with him. Until then, here are all the family members who love you and who will play with you. And so we'd make this big list, and he has a giant list of lovely family members to play with him. And he'd get comforted by that, and he started making the list with us whenever we did it. So he was basically trying to tell Aditi, I don't need that comfort, I have all of these people.
And it's so amazing to recognize that this 2-year-old is able to understand where his wants are coming from. Like, yeah, he's reasoning that me wanting milk is coming from me wanting love, and I am getting love from other places, so I don't need milk. That was incredible. So he's the eldest of this whole gang of babies, and watching him interact with each of them as he learns more, he's just so incredibly gentle. And so incredibly generous that I don't want to impose any of these ideas on him beforehand.
Which ideas do you mean?
That he should be gentle, that he should be generous. But he just shows us so much of it that it's incredible.
It's been interesting to watch. So Nanda was the first baby in the house after Achinthya, and Aditi. We've lived in the same house as Aditi, and Achinthya calls her Amma as well. So it's quite interesting to watch how Aditi navigates Nanda and Achinthya and their needs. Nanda's gotten to the stage where she expresses interest in things and she wants to hold things. She really wants to put everything in her mouth. And Achintya's toys are often the first thing around her. So it's interesting to notice how Aditi navigates their two different things. And it's never a thing of Nanda's younger, give it to her. There's always this conversation around, oh, do you want this, or is this disturbing you? And how do we find a compromise? And if there's no compromise possible, how do we find separation? So that you can go do your thing and she can go do her thing. I think having learned that lesson so easily and so young for him is going to be incredibly powerful.
So, talking about lessons learned, I feel like this little one's journey and your journey with her was quite a roller coaster ride, as you were describing during labor.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go into all the details yet.
Yeah.
I still have to sort it out in my head. But I feel like I learned, and I think she taught me by example. Like it feels like it's something that came from her. How to be clear about what my needs are and be very grounded about asking for them as needed.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I consciously did through this pregnancy and the labor and delivery has been, if I feel like something is in the best interest of her and me, ask for it.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing how, because the process of pregnancy and labor is confusing, because often you're a young woman going through it, maybe for the first time, you're told what to do, how to feel, what's best for you, instead of being offered information that you make decisions on. And I get why actually some people might prefer A over B, I don't.
Yeah.
And so it was empowering for me to learn how to make informed choices,
Yeah.
especially about health.
Hmm.
That was, and I had a lot of people around me who enabled that.
Yes.
All the family, the doctors in the family, his mom-in-law and my mom-in-law, his mom, and my brother, and the gynec we were consulting, Dr. Veena Acharya, and the birth home, which is this wonderful community of midwives and care providers here in Bangalore. We are back. Kuti is happily feeding here, and so we are back. I think this is going to be most of our life, no? For the next few months. One baby hanging on us one way or the other, and then us continuing to do our thing.
That has been our life for the last 2 years.
It has been our life.
Yeah, it's been fun.
So Achinthya, speaking of mysterious things, started saying this morning and has been chanting it on and off through the day. And we want to know what you think he's saying. We are not too sure.
Watch this video.
I'm going to eat food. I'm going to eat food.
Our best guess is he's saying, I pretend to eat food.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's saying. I'm not too sure.
But we don't know. Please leave your ideas on what you think he's saying in the comments. In terms of other babies, I've started brewing a water kefir, which is very, very interesting. It's this, it comes with from these grains of symbiotic yeasts and bacteria that grow in cacti in Mexico. Right, so cacti are storing a lot of water. There's sugar in that water, and these guys ferment that. So you take those grains, you put them in jaggery water, essentially, and leave them, and they ferment overnight. And they eat up all that sugar. They turn it mostly into acid, and for me, it fulfills the tastes I like of apple cider. Others I ask say that it replaces
soda,
lime soda, like all kinds of things. So I was just doing it for myself for fun because Janani introduced me to it, and we used it for an event at the university. Over the last few days, I've discovered that a whole load of people in my family really like this. In our family, really like this, and so now we're like getting out glass bottles and trying out different flavorings. I'm very excited about it.
By the way, these grains grow. So if you are in Bangalore
yes.
and you are interested in having a little bit of some water kefir grains to experiment with, please ask us, because now we have an overabundance of grains.
Yes. And they're continuing to grow even in the refrigerator. I followed the instructions that people gave on how do you slow these grains down, how do you give them rest. No, they're growing in the refrigerator. What was happening in 12 hours outside the refrigerator is happening 24 hours inside. That's all.
You're just a very good parent. We're very curious what your stories are, like we are always. And so I guess my question to you is, what's been something you have been growing recently?
Yeah. Thank you all for watching. This is Siddharth.
I'm Janani, and hopefully we will continue again shortly instead of taking a 1 year break again.
Yeah. See you.